Democratic Congresswoman Val Demings is setting the record straight in her new campaign ad calling out Republican Senator Marco Rubio for his alarming stance on abortion. But a recent Mason-Dixon poll shows Rubio still holds the lead in Florida's hotly contested Senate race with just 30 days to go before the midterm elections. Joining me now is Congresswoman Val Demings, Democratic candidate for the United States Senate in Florida. Congresswoman Demings, good to see you again. Thank you for coming back to the Sunday Show.
Jonathan, it's great to be with you, as always.
So that's a powerful clip. That ad is very powerful with its focus on abortion. But according to a Siena College poll, the economy is the top issue for voters. So how are you addressing those concerns on the campaign trail?
Jonathan, let me say this. I am traveling the state from the Panhandle down to the Keys, talking to Floridians about things that matter to them. Look, as you well know, I am the daughter of a maid and a janitor. No one can tell me about what it means to struggle, to try to make ends meet, to stretch a dollar. And certainly we need to do everything within our power to lower the cost for everyday working families, lower the cost for our seniors. That's exactly what we did when we passed the Inflation Reduction Act that helps to lower the cost of prescription drugs so seniors won't have to cut their medication in half, like I've heard so many times on the campaign trail, capping the cost of insulin and other things that everyday families have to go through. But let me just remind you of this. Marco Rubio, the person who's been in elected office since 1998, voted against the Inflation Reduction Act. He does not like to come to work. We all know that now. And when he does, he hurts Florida. So we are looking out for everyday families and what they have to go through on this campaign trail.
So, Congresswoman, immigration is the third most important issue for voters. And in a recent ad, Senator Rubio attacks you and the Biden administration for, quote, refusing to secure the border. Listen.
Last month in August, there were 12 individuals on the FBI's terror watch list arrested here at our southern border. That brings the total for fiscal year 2022 so far to 78 people. That is triple the previous 5 years combined.
You know, it's a seasonal thing.
Congressman, your opportunity to respond to that.
That looks like an ad from a desperate individual who's certainly worried about his political future. I spent 27 years at the police department, served as the chief of police. Certainly, we are a nation of laws, but we have to enforce them and we have to obey them. I know that we have to secure the border. Look, we've got to put more boots on the ground. I certainly, as a former chief, believe in doing that. We have to better utilize technology to help to secure our borders. We need more processors so that we can separate those who are violent offenders who are coming across our borders. You know I want to hold them accountable, but we also have to process asylum seekers who by law can come to this country if they are fleeing violence. So Marco Rubio can make his mouth say anything, as we well know. I think it was Marco Rubio who, when he was running for president, decided to abandon his own immigration bill because a few people in his base scared the hell out of him. So don't just listen to what Marco Rubio says, watch what he does.
Well, I'm going to have everyone listen to something else that Marco Rubio said. I mean, Florida is still reeling from the effects of Hurricane Ian. But here's what he said last Sunday about how he'd vote on a potential disaster relief package.
Are you telling me that if Hurricane Ian relief contains anything that smells like pork, you'll vote no?
Sure. I'll fight against it having pork in it.
Your reaction?
You know, it's quite frankly disappointing. But let me say this, Jonathan. In order to do your job, first, you have to show up for work. And Marco Rubio has one of the worst attendance records of any senator in the United States Senate. Our primary responsibility is to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the people that we serve. Florida was hit hard, as we all know, from Hurricane Ian. There are people in Central Florida still trying to recover, and certainly there are people in Southwest Florida who were just devastated, lost everything that they have. Now, if Marco Rubio was fighting for additional funding or more funding for our hurricane victims, that would be one thing. But just to turn his back on Floridians, I think it's shameful. And look, we can do better. And for those who are interested in seeing Florida do better and our nation do better, please visit my website at valdemings.com.
Congresswoman Demings, we've got less than a minute left, but I just need to get your answer on this. How are you going to narrow the gap with Rubio in the remaining 30 days? Is the abortion issue and its implications for personal liberty part of how you're going to do that?
I am traveling the state from the Panhandle down to the Keys, talking to people, as I did as a police chief, about things that matter to them. Of course, the cost of goods and services. But, you know, every place I go, into every county, of course, people talk about the cost of gas at the pumps. But before I leave, Jonathan, they also talked about protecting constitutional rights. The rights of women to make their own decisions is important. I don't want to have to get permission from my governor, my member of Congress, or the senator to make personal decisions about my body, or for my 4 granddaughters to have to make, for someone else to make their decisions. So women are fired up about it, and the men who support them are. And I do believe that the right to choose is a critical part of this election. And I believe that's why I am going to win.